but you've got to dig deeper. You've got to figure out what's going on in the emotional undercurrents of your organization and your people, your teams, your cultures. There's so much perspective taking needed for us to effectively lead others.
Welcome to the Leadership Initiative, where we explore the art and science of leadership through thought-provoking conversations with experts, thought leaders, and changemakers. Whether you're a seasoned leader or just starting out on your leadership journey, this podcast is designed to provide you with the tools and inspiration you need to lead with purpose and make a meaningful difference.
Hello and welcome to the Leadership Initiative podcast. We are here today with Jason P. Carroll. Jason is the founder of Aptive Index, a behavioral intelligence platform helping leaders hire better, lead smarter, and build teams where people thrive, powered by psychometric science and AI. A TEDx speaker and certified Dare to Lead facilitator trained by Dr. Brené Brown, Jason brings the science of human behavior and the art of courageous leadership into a single compounding system. He scaled his previous company from 20 million to 80 million through a successful exit and credits every bit of it to getting the people decisions right. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to speak with our audience today. And our audience comprises students, alum, industry professionals, and with that in mind, we'd love to know a little bit more about your background from your words. So if you could tell us a little bit about your background as a leader and how you came to be where you are.
Sure. I'll start off with the self-deprecating. I am your stereotypical entrepreneur, dropped out of college and tried to pave my own way as a struggling salesperson at first. But it's actually a good part of my story because the first real job I had, a career job I had was a lucrative sales position, but it was like the worst toxic culture that I've even heard of. But I didn't know anything else until I made a career switch and saw a fantastic culture under this leader called Nicole Collins, amazing leader out of Austin, Texas, and just totally shifted my perspective. And I was just like, hey, culture's it. Taking care of people is how we succeed in business. And that learning really followed me throughout my career. I had a couple of startups, and then I was part of a company, I guess an intrapreneur more than an entrepreneur. I was brought onto this company called Champion that had been around for 33 years, but it had really grown stagnant. So they had grown up to 20 million, which is a good amount of revenue, but had been sitting there for 15 years, like half of their existence. So I was charged with disrupting and pushing the envelope, blah, blah, blah. And thankfully, things worked out really well. So I was there for 7 years, and we grew from 20 to 80 million. So we 4x'd the revenue and just about 7 or 8x'd the profit, and then had a successful exit at the end of 2020.
Amazing. And I really want to dig in more to how you did that more granularly. But before we get there, I'm curious, what is one of the hardest lessons you had to learn as a leader along your journey?
I would say it was at that last company, Champion, that the learning was essentially that success can be the most dangerous form of failure because it masks all the things that might be going on that are still broken. So what I mean is a lot of the success at Champion did have to do with me and the culture I built, right? Because again, it came back to people, but a lot of that growth was in spite of me as well. I was making mistakes in leadership. I lacked a lot of self-awareness. I lacked awareness of some of the people on my team, especially in the executive team, and just some of the mismatches and ways we were butting heads. And even when I first started digging into some of the awareness, I did some overcorrection, which I'm sure you've heard from some of your leaders. And so yeah, it was a lot of learning opportunity that like really I needed to start with myself and be able to confront the mistakes that I was making, without shame and all that other stuff that comes along with that. It was the only way to really grow.
Yeah, absolutely. How can leaders better understand what truly motivates the people that they lead?
I mean, I do believe it comes back to self-awareness first.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of us walk around not really knowing what our own motivators are and our own needs are. Like what's really driving my behavior? Like how do I stay engaged? What gives me energy versus what drains me?
Mm-hmm.
And then once I understand that about myself and I start exploring that in other people, I'm able to see that we can be radically different.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like a no-brainer, but so many of us leaders walk through our day-to-day treating other people the way we think the way that we want to be treated,
Mm-hmm.
which, I mean, to be fair, is the golden rule. And it's not the worst idea, but true leadership is the platinum rule. It's leveling it up. It's learning what drives and motivates other people. How do I lead them the way they want to be leaded, even if it's completely outside the realm of what I would want? How do I learn that about others and then effectively do that?
Yeah, I think figuring out that we are motivated by different things in of itself is a huge step. And then once we figure that out, it's okay, now what do we do? Like how do we actually cater to these different motivation styles and the different things people need at different times in their lives as well? I'm curious if you could give me a little bit more insight, just kind of as a follow-up to that question, into maybe how you tackle that, how you have connected with somebody who maybe has a different motivation.
I'll say, so I don't know if you've heard the term psychometrics, just basically like fancy scientific personality tests, right? So like think, which Hogwarts house are you, but actually make it scientific. So I got introduced to the psychometrics back in 2016, and that changed the game for me. And I really started seeing how we were wired. And we're talking real kind of like ethereal right now, but real practically, the biggest learning was with my COO at the time. So I was the head of the company, the president. He was really my VP of ops. I ended up promoting him into COO. And we were, if you looked at like the charts that come from these psychometrics, we were mirror opposites of one another. Like everything that motivated me was the thing that would drive him nuts. So he looked at me and he's like, this is like some wild card guy who's going to jump out of the plane with no parachute. And I'm looking at him like, you're a stick in the mud. You're not going to try anything new. Yeah. You just want to do things the way they've always been done. And that's a real tension. I think a lot of us have encountered that, like the push-pull kind of dynamic, the pace at which we want to move, the risk appetite that we have. And so what I had to kind of come and reckon with was, if I'm ever going to effectively move this thing forward, in my way, like even if I'm being selfish, right? Like to do what I want to do, the only way that'll ever happen is if I can get buy-in by not catering to is kind of the wrong word because it sounds like a negative, but adapting to the styles of the other people on my team. So with my COO, I had to realize like he's risk averse, and actually that's a good thing. So let me use him to tap the brakes on my, jumping out of the plane type of impulsivity, and actually like show him that I value that. Like let me empower him and say, hey, I actually really appreciate and need your different perspective, your risk aversion. And as we started moving that direction, things really started to shift and change in really positive ways.
Thank you so much for that example. Going back a little bit, really thinking about a lot of the folks that are listening who are emerging leaders or in new leadership roles, what mindset shifts are essential when moving from that individual contributor to leadership role? I think you've already touched on this, but I'm just wondering if there's anything that you would add here.
I mean, I don't know that I'd add too much without overwhelming. Like know yourself and try your best to know others. I guess the piece that I would layer into know yourself is that it's really hard work.
Yeah.
Most of us believe we're self-aware. Most of us are not self-aware. That's just statistical fact, right?
Yeah.
I think Dr. Tasha Eurich did an actual study on this, and it's something like 90% of people think they're self-aware, and like maybe 10 to 15% actually are. And because all we do is think about self-awareness as like, oh, well, I recognize my behaviors, but like that's just data on a spreadsheet. It doesn't do anybody any good. We have to figure out what the impact of those behaviors are on others and figure out what's driving those behaviors if we actually want to change, which means we have to confront the hard stuff.
Yeah.
We have to realize like I'm nowhere near perfect, and some of the stuff that I'm doing is actually hurting others and hurting the organization. And it's really easy to get by as an individual contributor when those things are happening. When you step into leadership, that's when you're kind of cut wide open and those things start to really have a bigger effect.
Absolutely. Yeah, the spotlight is on.
Yep.
I'm curious, what separates leaders who are able to cultivate this high trust environment amongst those they lead versus the leaders that are leading and they're seeing disengagement or fear of showing up authentically from the people that they're leading, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this a little bit tongue in cheek just for humor, but there's some reality behind it. I think the leaders that step up and end up being more successful than the others are the ones who have, read Brene Brown or Patrick Lencioni. Some of the people that aren't. It's not like Simon Sinek, great. Jim Collins, awesome stuff. They're talking about strategy and business. That's excellent. But you've got to dig deeper. You've got to figure out what's going on in the emotional undercurrents of your organization and your people, your teams, your cultures. And that's where the stuff that Brene really hits on. Dare to Lead is probably her best book that's more like business focused. And it just exposes that there's so much perspective taking needed for us to effectively lead others. And there's so much going on that's just hidden from reports and even engagement surveys. There's so much more that we have to dig into.
Absolutely.
So if you're listening, go read Brene Brown.
I love it. Yes. And I think that's particularly important now as we see so much development with AI. And I'm curious about your perspective on AI and how to work with the AI. It's becoming a larger part of decision making in organizations. So how can leaders balance data-driven insights with human judgment and empathy, the things that Brene Brown speaks about?
Yeah, this AI conversation is so broad. I mean, we're not talking about productivity and writing faster emails. My overall approach to AI is to ask myself whether or not what I'm doing with AI is making me smarter or dumber. But like I think you're more touching on especially kind of in the leadership and the people HR realm of, are we amplifying human judgment or are we trying to replace it and then starting to make decisions based on a robot's interpretation, right? And I think that's a huge issue that people are facing. I mean, you submit a resume, most likely 90% of it was written by AI, and almost assuredly it's being scanned by AI before it ever hits a human. Well, that's a big problem for both the candidate and the company. And then you start going through the rest of the chain, and AI can play a really heavy role that can be really damaging. So overall, the big question is the way we're embracing AI empowering people? Is it, like you said, and like I kind of reiterated, is it amplifying human judgment? And so, my whole existence now is actually that, like having built an AI that's what it's for. And that's not to demonize other uses. I just think we see a lot of businesses making the wrong call with AI, just replacing people, thinking, oh, with that profit will come and we'll create new jobs. And they're just putting the cart before the horse, I think.
There's a lot of urgency around wanting to adopt it. And we're learning a lot.
Yeah.
But I love what you say about, actually leveraging it to build these things. And I'm curious, building off of that, conflicts are inevitably going to happen in teams. And I'm wondering how you approach team conflict and the work you do, how you think about team conflict and dealing with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to escape the world I live in now, which is in behavioral data, because my own human intuition is much, much lower than I used to think that it was.
Oh.
Like I just feel like I'm clueless oftentimes without objective data, and so I kind of approach conflict in the idea of behavioral tendencies and behavioral drives. So often, if not most of the time, I see conflict as just a misfiring of our own motivational needs. Like, making it personal. Like my wife has a high emotional resonance. Her capacity for that is high. And that's not because she's a she. The data shows that there's no correlation with emotional resonance and gender or anything like that. It just so happens, right? Like her emotional cup is huge. And then when it gets occupied in that space, like she's feeling it and it's swirling around, and I'm a compartmentalizer. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just when we have conflict, that one kind of motivating drive can really have us firing on different planes. And so recognizing that in each other, taking perspective is pretty much always the first step in resolving conflict. And even if you don't have the data, what I'm really saying is, it kind of goes back to Brené stuff. It's empathy. What is this person experiencing that I don't understand? And am I willing to hear that perspective and have it move me, at least in the sense that like I can understand where they're coming from? It doesn't mean I'm going to change my mind, but if I cannot perspective take and have empathy, there's no chance. Might as well just walk away.
And building off of that a little bit, I'm wondering if you have any practical advice, because I feel like a lot of people have very good intentions to do these things, maybe even a certain amount of awareness that we discuss in the classroom, for instance. But then in a situation, it can be a lot more difficult to deploy this kind of perspective. So I'm just curious, do you have any thoughts on that or any advice for people who are kind of newer to this journey of self-awareness, like true self-awareness and connecting with others and building empathy at the workplace?
Yeah, learn to recognize your inflection point. And here's what I mean by that. Like whenever anytime conflict happens or something that's like adversity, the first part of our brain that hits is our like non-evolved millions-year-old lizard brain amygdala, right? Like, and like we are now in toddler mode.
Yeah.
And if you're in toddler mode and you stay in it, you're screwed. Like there's no hope. So if you recognize what happens in your body, maybe your chest tightens or maybe your breath increases, like whatever it is, learn to recognize that and realize that this is your inflection point, and you get to make a choice, a choice to take a step back, and come up with what that looks like. Maybe you use there's some really cool breathing techniques, or I forget who taught me this, but if you rub two fingers together and just focus on the ridges of your fingerprints, it takes your brain away from whatever the heightened emotion is, and it kind of brings you back in your body. If you're at work and you just got pissed off at some coworker or boss, just close the laptop. Do something to make some action that disrupts that lizard brain path, so that you can take that step back and go, okay, well, what's actually going on here? How do I engage my thinking brain? How do I take perspective and approach this differently? Because we're going to go in our automatic state every time, and our automatic state's going to fail us.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That offers so much. Yes, one that I really like is, schedule the email for later.
Yeah.
Then you can go back and read it, or send it to yourself and see if you really want to send
write
that
it to yourself. Read it an hour later, be like,
how would I
I'm not going to
receive
send that.
Yeah. So if you could give one piece of leadership advice to college students and emerging professionals preparing for their first leadership role, what would it be?
Gosh, I just feel like it's gonna come back to the self-awareness. Like college years are when you really start figuring out your true north. And I can't tell you how many people I encounter every single week that when we kind of look at their like personality data, their like wiring and motivators and their career up to this point, they just sit there and go, why did I do this? Like, why did I go into business finance when like I hate every second of it? Like, I can be successful for 6 months, but then I'm miserable. I'm drained. It's not giving me life. Or why did I go into sales? Like, I was told to follow the money, that sales is great for, your commission check, but I hate it. So it is hard though, because our parents tell us what to go. Our professors obviously they're there for their purpose and agenda in their area of expertise. So you got to figure out a way to just understand yourself better and what's going to motivate you long term. Know your purpose and know your drives.
Yeah. Great advice. And it can be scary, and it's okay.
Incredibly. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking ahead 5 to 10 years, what leadership capability do you believe will be most critical for success in general for leaders across the board?
Yeah, understanding people. We're getting, like, AI is going to take over a lot, and it's going to do a lot of replacing of humans. It's going to attempt to replace human judgment. Over the next couple of years, with the way things are accelerating, the influx, companies are going to be just stupid, and they're going to be stripping out a lot of the human element. And we're going to wake up either gradually or like one of those big light bulb moments and just go, wow, we have just absolutely tanked our cultures and our leadership, and we have no idea who our people are and what motivates them. So I think that folks learn how to use AI, right? If you don't know how to do good prompting, you're going to get left behind. But aside from that, stay honed in on understanding people.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems as though it's going to be a huge differentiator.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so thank you for all of this insight, and I feel like there's so many practical ideas that you've shared with us as well. I'm curious if there's anything that I didn't ask that you would like to share about your journey, about your business, or anything that you just like to share in terms of advice.
Nothing big comes to mind. We're talking about a tough subject matter. Understanding yourself, self-awareness is not easy. A lot of it comes through adversity. And of course, adversity is not easy. That's the whole word, right? But I think most of us would, if we looked back at the adversity that we've faced, and I don't mean trauma, I mean run-of-the-mill adversity, I don't think most people would take it back. I think most people are like, okay, I learned what I needed to learn. And so I just kind of pair all that together. We're going to constantly hit the wall, and we have to look at those things as learning moments. And we have to first look in the mirror. It's really tempting to blame circumstance, environment, politics, and professors, whatever, for our adversity. But I think looking in the mirror is going to be the most difficult but most powerful first move as we're working through stuff like that.
Yeah, beautifully said. Do you Do you recommend a particular practice for that? Do you journal? Is there a particular way that you would approach that from a individual perspective? I'm just curious.
I'm the wrong guy to ask. I'm allergic to anything
journaling.
process oriented. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't have self-discipline. If I'm not interested in something, I'm completely checked out. So have a therapist. Go to therapy. Right?
Well, it can look a lot of ways. You're right. Just like looking at that journey squarely, and you can do that in a moment. You can reflect. You can talk. Yeah, there's so many different paths. Like you were saying in the beginning, so many different motivators.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Jason P. Carroll, for your time today, and we really appreciate all the wisdom, and thank you for being on the Fisher Leadership Initiative podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks again for listening. This podcast is presented by the Max M. Fisher College of Business at The Ohio State University. For more episodes, find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or podcast.osu.edu/leadership initiative. See you next time.